Welcome everybody. Welcome Jackie, welcome Catherine. Thanks Catherine, and to you and to everybody that's on live this evening. I really felt the energy cooking today. It's a very strong supermoon. It's what's known as the Wesak or the Buddha moon. So this is a particularly significant moon, very deep, and yeah, it's certainly calling us really deep inside. And interestingly, the bowl that wanted to come and play this evening was the Grandmother and Apophyllite alchemy bowl. So there is something here about Mother Earth and the depth that we are being called to connect with at this time, and the smoky quartz and charcoal bowl, deep earth energy. So this full moon, this full supermoon at 7 degrees of Taurus is opposite the moon sitting at 7 degrees of Scorpio. So this is a really interesting dynamic and balance. And as I say, it's called the Buddha moon or the Wesak moon if you're looking at it from an Alice Bailey teachings perspective. Everybody's got a different approach to this. So hi Amanda, hi Julie. So it is just an extraordinary pulse point on our journey. Hi Hala. And yeah, you can really feel the energies starting to intensify for us. So welcome everybody, and yeah, full moon blessings to you all. This is a significant point, it feels to me, on our journey through the year. I mean, the Buddha full moon or the Wesak moon is actually seen as the most important of the spiritual festivals that occur during the year. So the Aries moon was the activator. Hi Julia, hi. The Aries moon was the activator. The Aries full moon was the piece that triggered us into perhaps diving a bit deep and seeing what was complete, what we were ready to let go of. And then along comes the Taurus full moon, which, as I say, in the Alice Bailey tradition is always on the Taurus full moon. And the Wesak celebrated then. And this was the tradition that I trained in as I trained in pranic healing and Arhatic yoga. My first experience of a Wesak celebration was actually on Vancouver Island in 2000. And an amazing experience of the downpouring of the energies that were possible at this time. And a few years later, I went off to Hamburg with the same master teacher to experience that again with a group of meditators in Hamburg. So Wesak, the story of Wesak is that high spiritual aspirants would make their way to a secret valley deep in the Himalayas, and they would sit and wait for the appointed time that the Buddha energy would descend into that valley. So the Buddha would be bringing the light and the wisdom, and the Christ energies would be bringing the divine love, which is this is a super potent double whammy moon, because there is received the divine wisdom, light energy of the Buddha, which is then woven with the divine love aspect of the Christ consciousness field. So the aspirants would gather in the valley, and they would form themselves into a sacred geometry pattern facing a particular orientation, so that the energies could be brought down to earth and anchored on the earth plane. And then there is the journey from the Taurus full moon to the Gemini full moon, when they are integrated, and there is the divine dispensation to humanity. So this is the storyline to it, and this is why Wesak is seen as such a significant full moon, this Taurus full moon. So, you know, this is a really intense moon, because scorpionic energies are deep. This is, you know, it's like this is the balancer. It's between the depth of Scorpio and the very much more surface five senses energy that is connected into Taurus. So this is the polarity that we're working through right now. And actually, this whole period of time is about being able to go in deep. We've got a window of opportunity. The energies are really quite complex through this full moon, and there is a 3-day window from the exactitude of the full moon, which I think is at 4:31 a.m. tomorrow morning in the UK, and I think it's 11:31 EST for those of you in the States. So the energies, obviously, when they're plying, when they're coming towards that exactitude, are really intense. So we might find ourselves with a little bit more of a disturbed night's sleep tonight. And then we enter a window of 3 days where the sun is actually conjoining Uranus, and as the moon moves as well, the two will form an opposition. So the Sun-Uranus conjunction will be opposite the moon. And the moon in this particular circumstance is quite in isolation. So we might find ourselves feeling quite alone with the depth of the feelings that we are experiencing at this time. Uranus means there's an unpredictability. So, you know, we are learning, shall I say, to get comfortable with the unpredictable, the unknown, and to be able to find this place of mastery within ourselves that allows us to come into an anchor point within us and not get blown around so much with what's going on around us. What Serena had to say. Yeah, it is. It has been a super intense week, and I don't know about any of you, but I've actually found today that there's been a huge wave of grief and sadness that has rumbled its way through as well It's felt really palpable here, really right from the get-go this morning. And, you know, there's been various trigger points for me during the day today that have not allowed me to get away from it. And I think this is one of the things with this Scorpio moon, this Scorpio energy. There's nowhere to go. And the only place that we can go is within. And to really allow ourselves the time to process, you know, allowing ourselves to, yes, Jackie, exactly. When we see the suffering of what's, you know, what is, you know, what's coming up on the screen of our lives still. And, you know, it is one of the Buddhist teachings is that, you know, there is, you know, suffering in the world. But, you know, what do we do to find a pathway through that suffering? So this is what this moon is offering us. It's offering us this opportunity of being able to find a pathway within. We can't change what's going on outside in the outer landscape, on the screen of our lives. The only place we can come to is a place of compassion and kindness and loving presence to what's unfolding, both for ourselves, but also for what's unfolding for humanity. So as I say, this window that we're in, from the exactitude of the moon tomorrow morning at 4:31 UK and 11:31 PM EST, so 4:31 AM UK, is the recognition that there may well be a 3-day, quite an intense period when you might find that there will be intense emotions coming up for you, maybe in response to what's going on in your inner landscape and your personal experience, but what's happening globally. I think we can expect some more perhaps larger global experiences in this next period of time too. What we really need to bring to mind is the fact that at this particular point in time, there isn't a lot of movement forward. This is almost like a holding pattern that we are being held in to purify, to clear, to bring full attention to what's calling for attention within us and within perhaps our you know, the inner temple, but also what's happening for you in your outer temple. I went through a period about 2 or 3 weeks ago when I really questioned whether I was being called to move again. You know, these times are times that we really have to pay full attention to the signs and to bring full attention to what is where the nudges are, where the calling is, to come back in and go, what needs to be seen here? What is my path of mastery with this particular experience that I'm having? So yeah, it's an inward moon, not an outward moon. If we can bear that in mind and not try to push against the current, but to understand that this is actually taking us on another dive slightly deeper and allowing ourselves to understand what really is calling us forward now, what is calling us forward from a direction perspective, and what's non-negotiable. You know, what is a non-negotiable for you now? And allow these pieces to be the anchor point. Allow these pieces to be the way showers that enable you to start to craft a vision forward that is sustainable. When we look at this Scorpio-Taurus axis, Taurus is asking us to make things sustainable, making something that is as lasting, that is on a good foundation, that actually really touches the deepest part of ourselves that we know to be true. It's an inner knowing, it's an inner wisdom that this is calling for. Yes, Renee, the long and winding road. It certainly is. This may well be the time that we signed up to be here, but nobody would have guesstimated what it was that was going to be called for in the depth of our very being, to find a pathway through. And without a doubt, there is a lot of loss and grief that is in the collective right now. And whether we look at that as being a loss of freedom, a loss of a personal choices, that has to be grieved. That has to be brought presence to. That, we can't, just push that under the carpet and focus forward. But when it is fully acknowledged and we understand the nature of the human condition and what this is calling for from us, because it's a real depth of being, and it is what would love have me do, say, or be now. How do I presence what I'm experiencing in the most loving way for all? And it is also a path in which we can find our own sovereignty within this experience that we're having. And that is the absolute keynote to our being able to stand in our truth, to stand clear and at one with ourselves in the decisions that we make. So, that being given the case, shall we have a look and see what the roses may offer us for wisdom in this Taurus full moon, with the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Taurus. So the first rose this evening is Rose 8. And Rose 8 is one of the original roses that came forward they're in the Rose 1 set. This rose sits on the heart chakra, but she sits at the back of the heart, and you'll see she's like coral. She has a strength to her and a form, and she sits at the back of the heart. Just like, if you were comforting someone, you would put a hand on their back heart chakra. And from my training and my understanding of energy anatomy through my pranic healing training, there is a front heart chakra and there is a back heart chakra. And the back heart chakra is connected to the heart and the lungs. The front heart chakra is much, much more delicate, and she sits on the front, protecting, if you like, or is supported by the strength of this rose sitting in the back heart. And she says, I've got your back. Rest into me. Let me hold you. And sometimes that's all we need, is to have that sense of a loving presence with her hand on our back. In these times where we've had so little human contact, or certainly for those of like myself that have done this journey for this last 15 months on your own, there isn't, the thought of actually being able to have a hug and being in contact is just joyful, when you get to meet friends. But she has strength, she has resource, and she says, trust me, all will be well. And if you look very closely at the center of this rose, this is where the Holy of Holies, the Rosa Mystica, sits. There is a cloaked figure that is a Mother Mary, a Mary Magdalene figure that is the guardian to the gateway. You can probably just see her here. And it is almost that she is guarding the inner temple. She is guarding the strength and resource of your heart. So as we connect and work with her, I invite you just to breathe her in. You might want to just put a hand on your higher heart and just look at her, or if you know the Rose Oracle, if you have Rose 8, just imagine her like a strong, warm hand on your back heart chakra, and that sits right at the back of your heart chakra. And just breathe her in and just thank her for her strength and her resource and the reminder that all is well. I can rest into the strength of my heart chakra. She's got my back. She's just like a warm hug. Serena, can I suggest that you take this rose and you tuck her in your top, or you have her tucked with you to give you that kind of strength and resource. Interestingly, this was one of the roses that I had, I've got in the planning to have printed on the back of t-shirts, so that you can wear a t-shirt with this kind of support in on your back. So she is just an amazing resource. This rose actually also is very, very good to work with if you've got broken bones, or if you've had any operations. She was a rose that when my father was alive, and he had a knee replacement, I made him a half-size rose mat so that he could tuck it under the brace on his knee brace. And he said that the warmth and the sense of comfort, he was sure that it speeded the healing, which was, he may have been humouring me, but it felt I was really appreciative, and so was he. It was a nice connection. So let's see what the second rose is that's come for the reading. So that first rose is telling us, you know, to rest into the strength of our hearts. Know that you know, the rose has got our back. Or there is you know, there are guides, there are supporters for us that have got our back, and all we have to do is to stay in loving presence to what's unfolding for us, and that enables us to stand forward and speak from that place of truth. You know, when we speak from the heart, it is received by the heart, and that really is so important for us now. The authenticity has a frequency to it that we recognize. We're becoming very fine-tuned antennae for anything that resembles BS. So let's see what the second rose is. And the second rose is Rose Angel 6. And this rose sits on the throat chakra, and she is all about truth. She is I mean, you know, you can't make this stuff up, can you? And there's there talking about speaking authentically, speaking from our truth. And that's exactly what this rose is saying. She sits in the throat chakra, and she is the salve for the heart wound of denial. the number of times we swallow down rather than coming clean with, you know, what we truly feel about something. This is, you know, the archetypal pleaser self. This is the perfect rose to come forward to say, you know, in the purity of speaking my truth, there is a power that comes from the solar plexus. This is where I trust my gut wisdom. I trust who I am through the wisdom of my heart to share. This is where I stand with this. This is my truth. When we speak and we speak what is true, it has a frequency for it. It has an absolute note. And I expect you, like me, are becoming really, again, very finely tuned antennae to know when we've gone off ourselves. It's not even necessarily that somebody else has. It's knowing that we are absolutely in an alignment with ourselves to share what it is. And of course, there is also, in the sharing, there is the fact that there is a time when the master knows not to speak, when actually silence is more powerful. This also comes with mastery on this particular rose. But as you see, she's quite complex. But this peachy colour for me has a strong connection to the higher octave of the Divine Mother energy. So this is really a core piece of that feminine essence, that feminine expression. So she's calling us to truth. She's calling us to the clarity of our expression. So if you'd like to just put your hand on your higher heart and feel this beauty as she sits in your throat chakra. Perhaps feel her petals are like feathers. And just feel her helping and supporting you in absolutely knowing what it is that is needing to be said in any moment. She's gentleness, she is kindness, she is compassion. You know, speaking from truth doesn't have to be aggressive. Speaking from truth just has a note that is truth in itself. So she is our second beauty. So you can feel Rose 8 with this warm, supportive hand on the back of your heart. And you can feel Rose Angel 6 sitting as a guide, calling you to the salve of truth, being able to express yourself with clarity and with honouring of yourself. These are our pathways to sovereignty. When we can stand on our own 2 feet and to be able to feel that sense of foundation in ourselves, to rise up through in steadfastness, to be able to speak with clarity, to be an illumined pathway forward in the world. When each one of us can do that, we are luminaries for one another. We illuminate a pathway forward in loving presence. Let's see what Rose 3, what the third rose is that wants to come forward. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Jackie. And we have Rose Ma 4. Now, the Rose Ma roses are all I am statements. And this rose says, I am nurturer. So she's calling you to look at any way in which you perhaps need to look at your nutrition at a very simple level. She could be asking you to look at all the ways in which you self-care. Is there anything here that could be a reminder of the importance of self-care? Because we cannot give from an empty cup. We have to know what is going to fill us up, what is going to top up the energy, so that we can be a presence for good in the world, that we can guide, that we can inspire. It all has to come from the place of where we look after ourselves first. And it's this difference between self first and selfish. It is an awareness of what is needed, an awareness of the depth of self-care, particularly at this point. There is not anyone on this planet, I don't feel, that isn't at some level isn't experiencing or hasn't at some point experienced trauma in this last 15 months in particular. This rose is saying, I am nurturer. I have to look after myself. I have to know what it is that nurtures my very soul. Now, that may be being able to spend time in nature. That may be making sure that you have some good, nutritious food. Whatever that is for you, each one of us has got a slightly different tick box as to what is on that list for us. But she is saying that's where I need to resource. So you might want to just, again, put your hand on your heart and just breathe her in too. And remind yourself that you are a treasure, and that you are enough, and that you deserve this level of self-care and self-compassion and nurturing in order to be of service to others. She is a beauty to work with. And so these are the 3 roses that come as reminders for this particular reading. Rose 8. Knowing the strength and resource of your heart, and being able to feel that sense of warmth and support. I've got your back. And allow yourself to rest very gently into that level of support. And as I say, here she is, the Divine Mother energy, as the guardian to the gateway to the inner temple, the Holy of Holies, the Rosa Mystica. And she is the protector. She allows that sense of guardianship, if you like. Rose Angel 6, sitting on the throat chakra and reminding you of the heart wound of denial and the salve of trust, truth, the salve of truth, that when we rise and we speak from this, the trusting our gut wisdom, we can speak with truth. We can speak with honesty and with clarity, because when we speak from that place, others know who we are. They know clearly who we are, and they can relate from that place. It's not a hidden guessing game. And Rosemar 4, the beautiful energy that says, I am nurturer, and I take care of my needs. I am a resource that enables me to be able to then give to others, because I'm giving from a full cup, not an empty cup. So there's our 3 roses for this time. I will take a photo of them and put them actually into the thread this time. I thought to bring this little, because we're dealing with a Scorpio moon. This is a Koshi chime, and it is the water element. And it's just, they're magical, these little energies. I'm absolutely loving having these around. And what else can I tell you? There's, for just the next 2 weeks, the 5 levels of the rose classes are on super special offer. And then they won't be available again at all. They will only be available in the full the full new classes that I'm just in the process of putting together. So if you feel that you want to find out more about the Rose Oracle or the energies of the different roses, particularly in the first 5 levels of the classes, there are, for just the next 2 weeks, the rose the rose classes will be on special offer. They're reduced from £295 to £95, and it's 24 videos, and each of the roses, each of the first 45 roses are covered. And I've got some new classes that are just coming, so sorry, I'm just going to go back because I think it looks like we've got Mustafa, would you like to leave the group, please? I really don't want you to be going through the whole of my list, and I'll be deleting you as soon as I come off the call. It's very tiring. Unfortunately, it's one of those things right now, is that every time I do a live, well, I end up getting the trolls and the people that are, you know, touting for readings. So I really apologise to everybody here that you might be bothered by having somebody trying to tout. It's a shame. So this is the grandmother and apophyllite alchemy bowl, and I've got the charcoal bowl with me as well this evening, so holding a grounded energy for these times. And yeah, I hope that you receive good insight going through this this full moon. It is a potent full moon, and one of the things that you might want to check out is something called the Great Invocation. And I will just read you the Great Invocation, because this is the energy that is put together by Alice Bailey, and the they are the words that are normally spoken within a Wesak meditation celebration. So if you just would like to receive the energies, and I will just hold the little Koshi chime as well. So this is the Great Invocation, and it was shared by the Master Dwal Kul to Alice Bailey. From the point of light within the mind of God, Let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the centre where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the centre which we call the race of man, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you for joining me, and may you have a blessed and many blessings on the Wesak. Bye for now. Love and rosy blessings.